to Sudan now, where the warring sides have agreed to extend a shaky ceasefire in their battle for control of the country. The move comes after two key international mediators signaled their impatience with persistent truce violations. The 5-day extension of the ceasefire between Sudan's military and its rival, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, was announced in a joint statement late yesterday by Saudi Arabia and the United States. Officials hope the extension will provide time for further humanitarian assistance, restoration of essential services, and discussion of a potential longer-term extension. The development came after both Riyadh and Washington on Sunday called out both warring sides for specific breaches of a week-long truce that was due to expire on Monday evening. Well, Arise East Africa correspondent Mark Bichachi has been monitoring developments, and he joins me now live from Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Good to see you, Mark. So, under pressure from US and Saudi mediators, the ceasefire extended for 5 more days. Give us a sense of the situation in Khartoum.
Well, it is interesting times because there was reports of both the RSF and the army bolstering their positions in the days that were heading to the closure of the ceasefire. But what has happened and what we are hearing from the ground is there has been a de-escalation violence. The kind of violence that was seen Monday has not been reported today. So this is for the first time a ceasefire that seems to have had an immediate impact. However, the statements and the rhetoric coming from both sides have not terming this ceasefire to be a humanitarian ceasefire rather than a process towards peace. However, it is clear that the two generals are under immense international pressure to ensure that the violence does not continue. How long this pressure will hold, Charles?
And just to buttress the point you were making there about the violations that are taking place, I mean, we're hearing worryingly that many deaths are occurring because of random crossfire and artillery attacks between the two sides, with many people said to have been killed inside their own homes.
Well, yes, indeed. There are many reports of violence that is not only just in civilian areas, but also in hospitals where most especially the RSF is of moving into civilian areas, moving into places where the military should not operate. And therefore, we are seeing a lot more deaths of civilians who are caught in the crossfire, who are also caught up in sprees of by various armed groups which are raiding homes and businesses and damaging property and injuring citizens in the Sudan. So what we are seeing is not only a military confrontation, but also an abuse of international law when it comes to fighting, while at the same time putting the civilian both as human shields, as has been claimed, but also literally looting and causing the loss of life of Sudanese citizens. That's not counting the loss of life that is to the fact that some civilians, both in Darfur and in the capital, Khartoum, have been unable to receive aid because of the amount of war that is going on there. So this is a violation of human rights. It's a violation of the Geneva Convention. And this has become rampant as the fighting has gone on.
And I imagine that in the circumstances that you described there, Mark, I imagine it's an extremely complicated mission to proceed with humanitarian work under circumstances where there does not appear to be any respect for the safety and lives of civilians.
Well, yes, indeed. The humanitarian workers that we've talked to and reports we've seen from the Red Cross and various other aid organizations is that the number of children, for example, who need assistance are 0.6 million children. That is no small number. But at the same time, in places like Umdurman and the capital of Darfur, Al Janina, we see that there is no access for these humanitarian convoys deployments to reach. In Darfur, the situation is even worse. Refugees having run away from certain places are saying that they had to see their relatives being slaughtered, a genocide style, and they have seen a militia attacking villages and ensuring that none can escape. So it's not just a matter of aid getting in. It is also about the people of Sudan being able to get out of certain situations. And especially in Darfur, it is taking an ethnic dimension as well.
Very briefly, Mark, what sense do you get about what people caught up in this conflict would ask the mediators to do to change things if they could speak to them?
Well, one of the things that is clear when you listen to civil society in the Sudan and different leaders within the Sudan itself, they're talking about the West putting on sanctions on these two generals. They're talking about harsher terms to be pushed on the country simply because a lot of the people caught within the Sudan are saying that they need some reprieve. They need a ceasefire that actually works for them to be able either to continue with their lives or to escape from places and neighborhoods where they can't escape. So really, the international community is mostly being asked to ensure, number one, these two generals are given sanctions so that they have a hard time to operate. And number two, the factions that are being accused of using civilian infrastructure, such as hospitals, apartment blocks, as places to deploy warfare from, that they should be brought to book, because as we know, this is in contravention of international law. So the kind of terroristic activities being done by factions in this war, those involved actually needs to stop and needs to be, the perpetrators need to be taken to book.
Mark, thanks very much indeed. Mark Bichachi is Arise East Africa correspondent, and he was talking to me there from the Kenyan capital, Nairobi.